Mego is here. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy night 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 before. Are you heading out tonight? Or I know that was traditionally a big night for you. If I remember,
I used to be the queen of the night before Thanksgiving. That was the day that I either was really shining or embarrassing my entire family and the friend group that I was with at the bar.
I mean, it's nice
Depending
to go
who
back.
you ask.
It's always fun to go back. Really just graduate from college, go back and rekindle an old romance.
Well, we're past that. I've certainly graduated from the go back to the townie bar and rip it up phase, but might go out for a martini or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the way to do it in your 30s.
Excellent.
But that night before, and your parents were just begging you not to be hungover the next morning.
And my best friend's 21st birthday is right around Thanksgiving. So there was one year when there were stories among the parents.
You didn't make it to the table the next day?
It's a wild one. Seems like it was a wild one.
It was a tough year.
All right, are we talking Celtics first, or are we talking controversial list of the top 10 football films of all time?
Well, why don't we start with Celtics, and then we'll
Okay.
get to the list, which Keith said was trash. And my own husband looked at me and said, this is highly questionable. And so the men don't like the list.
I wouldn't go so far as to say trash. There are, I feel like, some glaring omissions, but it could be a generational
Well,
thing.
why don't we start there then? Because, what is it? Celtics great. Porzingis back.
Yeah.
16 points, 2 blocks.
Yep.
Looks awesome.
I mean, Porzingis, honestly, and he is saying that he feels better than he did end of season.
It's
right?
like his version of Tommy John. He comes back stronger.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they could win. They could win out. They could lose one game for the rest of the calendar year, and then basically you see OKC on January 5th. You see the Warriors again at the end of January, and you're just always weird against the Warriors, so that's a hard game to predict. But otherwise,
they're great with him or without him.
they're just cruising.
Right,
They're incredible. Right
and they're
now.
not going to overwork him now moving forward.
Oh,
They're going
no
to
way.
save him.
I'm sure he'll be on a minutes restriction, like NBA Cup.
Yeah.
In contention or not, I think that they'll have him on a pretty strict regimen of how they're returning him. So I wouldn't even worry about that.
Like Greg said yesterday, it's like having a yacht with the Celtics and then adding a helicopter pad or
an extra speedboat or 2 or 3 or whatever. You're so good.
Yeah.
All right, on to your list, because I think the issue here may have been that you ranked them.
Well,
that might be
you're going to put out a list and not rank?
Well, no, I think you had to, but I think that might be Rich's issue. But,
Yeah, We Are Marshall at number 7 is blasphemy.
Well, let's go. Let's share with everybody.
Too low or too high?
Too low.
I can't watch that movie again. That's what I wrote in it. Here's the thing. I make an argument for every movie that I rank, and I explain why it's where it is on the list. I'm not just throwing out numbers.
Yeah, no.
And part of my issue with We Are Marshall is, again, the same friends who I would go out with Thanksgiving Eve made so much fun of me for years because basically when the movie started, I started crying.
That means it's a good one.
Cried through the entire movie, and I thought, I'm never watching this movie again. This movie's too tough.
You have Waterboy at number 10.
That's
Waterboy's
too low.
Awesome.
That's too low for
Way
you?
too low. That's my top 5, but I love the pick.
Okay, Wiggy, in talking to Patriots players, NFL players love Waterboy.
Yes.
They're like, that is the football movie.
Yeah, that is a great movie. So I'm cool with it. I know your list is your ranking, whatever, but I like that it's on the list.
Replacements at number 9.
I
Very
can deal with that.
cliched. It's a fun movie to watch, but and Keanu is passable as a quarterback, but it's just full of cliches,
Curtis, I think, earlier had an issue with Silver Linings Playbook because it's not a football.
Yeah,
Terrible
not a football
movie.
movie.
Wait, terrible movie?
Talk about a depressing movie.
Oh, I think it's uplifting.
Oh,
it's
no.
like two troubled people fighting each other.
But it's not
depressing.
a football movie. It should not be on the list.
Okay.
Because it's a drama based around or drama with a little bit of a sport element in it. It's not a football movie.
So the reason I put it on the list is I do think it is the most accurate representation that I've ever seen of East Coast NFL fandom. Between Robert De Niro and Bradley Cooper and the whole Eagles subplot and the degenerate gambling and the superstitions of you have to sit in this chair and you walked in with this jacket on and so now you can't leave. You have to stay the rest of this game. Like all of that is so authentic to me, and I think it's a bigger piece of the movie than people remember.
Well, if you wanted to go that route, the Philly thing, you should have put Invincible there.
No.
Yeah,
Because Silver
Invincible's
Linings is way better than
No,
Invincible.
it's not. Invincible is, first of all, it's based on a true story.
Yes. Vince Papale.
It's a great film. It's
Yeah. It's based on a true story. I mean, there's a lot of ones that on there that are, quote, based on a true story.
Yeah, I mean,
Rudy is, and I love that pick, even though it's Notre Dame, not a big Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, Rudy's great.
Best part about that, quick little tidbit there, Greg.
Yes.
It was filmed at halftime of Notre Dame's beatdown of BC in 1992, which was the prequel of the 93 greatest upset in BC history, 41-39.
I don't mind Rudy being at number 2 where you have it. I have the same issue that Curtis has with Silver Linings Playbook as I have with Jerry Maguire being number 6 on the list. That's not a football film.
I'm fine with Jerry Maguire on the list.
I'm saying
Jerry Maguire is a love story.
Yes.
It's not a football.
Jerry Maguire is my favorite movie of all time.
It is?
Oh, absolutely.
Why? Because the little kid is so cute?
No.
So why do you have it higher?
Well, it has you had me at hello.
I consider it a football movie because half of it is about Rod Tidwell, and the Rod Tidwell character is just amazing. And I think a lot of the stuff that they get around the business side of football, aside from like that they're negotiating a contract in season, like doesn't make any sense. But the stuff that happens around the stadium, go into commercials, you don't want to shoot, like all of that stuff. I think they do a great job characterizing, especially in the 90s, like how it actually was and trying to get from one level to the next of being a star and what goes into how people perceive you as a player.
For that type of movie where it's more like romance, I would have put Draft Day.
Draft Day.
Jerry Maguire's way better than Draft Day.
Draft Day
These
with
are not
Kevin
football
Costner.
movies. You should have.
Well, I'm just saying that, but if we're going down the road where football is an
There's
aspect.
plenty of football
you
scenes
should have
in Jerry
replaced-
Maguire,
What is
though.
wrong with you
Have you ever
two?
seen Draft Day?
You should have replaced.
No.
It's very good.
One time somebody was trying to waterboard me, and I had to watch it.
Very good.
I think they show that in Guantanamo.
It's like, what?
Mego, you should have.
That movie blows.
It's very
You
good.
should have replaced
good.
it with Necessary Roughness.
Okay.
With
Well,
Sinbad.
she does have.
Scott Bakula.
I give her credit when it comes to the generation thing. You have the longest yard.
Yes,
Great
which
movie.
is
Original.
probably, like you would agree,
Great
Wiggy,
movie.
the best football in a football movie
Great
because they
movie.
got like 6 or 7 former
Yes.
football players,
Yep.
either at the collegiate or NFL level.
And isn't
Plus,
it-
Burt Reynolds, who was a college football
Yep.
player as
Great
quarterback.
movie.
Isn't it-
Ray Nitschke at the linebacker.
Not to correct you, Coach, but isn't it unnecessary roughness?
What'd I say? Did I
You
say?
said necessary,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Unnecessary Roughness.
Whatever, it's not on the list.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
right.
that's a great one. A bunch of old heads go back to college and still have eligibility left.
I hate to ask.
yeah.
Blindside.
Blindside, Courtney, like I remember I saw it in theaters, sobbed the entire time.
Yeah, so good.
And then I went back and watched it like a year and a half ago, and I was like, this is kind of bad.
Oh,
this is kind of a bad movie.
Disagree.
Like I went back and it was a lot more Disney-fied than I remembered it being.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That is a great point, Mego. Especially the boy SJ. When I watched that
Oh,
again,
awful.
so bad.
so bad. They're like singing Good Vibrations in the car and stuff. And I'm like, what is this? This is bad.
Wiggy and I were talking about the program.
Oh, the program. But
Oh,
I don't know.
That's
Great
Keith's
movie.
pick. I've actually never seen that
See,
one.
That's a great film.
Oh.
And it's obviously I'm going to say this. I don't know how you don't have Brian's song on the list. It is
Okay.
it is the single greatest tear-jerking football story, true life, real football story told in a cinematic form ever. And how Brian's song is not on the list is beyond me.
I think you'll appreciate the
it's
explanation.
sketch. It's sketch.
Brian's song is the rider. You know when bands go on the road and they put a rider in and it's like, I got to have green M&Ms in the dressing room. And that's
Yes.
how you know if they read the rider or not.
Yes.
That's Brian's song.
Okay.
So
All right.
when people are all in the
so-
comments and they're
so-
like, where's Brian's song? I'm like, thank you for reading the list.
Okay, all right. So you did that on purpose.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Some of the lists may have been manipulated to
Right.
start conversation.
I mean, I think that's probably an old
Yeah.
old head thing. Like,
But she does have the longest yard on there, which is 1974 or 5.
Burt
I
Reynolds.
also think
Yeah,
it's
and Brian's song is
better.
what? Billy D. Williams and Peter
No, it's James Caan.
James Caan,
James
and
Caan.
in the 70s. So, but the program is it like a 90s movie, and that was like one. You have to check that out. That
Putting
would be the list.
Friday
Oh,
Night
and
Lights.
Ricky, you're right. I'm wrong. It's necessary roughness.
Oh, okay.
It's not unnecessary roughness.
So yeah, that
And what about? Did you give any consideration to Varsity Blues?
No.
Why?
Varsity Blues I enjoy it, but it's such a goofy movie. We were mocking it on the school bus when it came out in the 90s. We're like,
Right.
I don't want your life. Like, come on, guys.
All right, 34 dive. I got a kooky one for you.
By the way, did you bring up Landman?
Yes.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's good.
Yep.
Ali Larder, who is most well known
For the bikini.
the whipped cream bikini, plays the ex-wife very well.
She has aged
in Landman.
very nicely.
Yeah, she has aged.
She has aged very
She hasn't
nicely.
aged at all. Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Yes.
person, so.
Your Friday Night Lights movie being number one makes me believe that you are a big Friday Night Lights movie fan. So do you put that above the TV show?
I just think they're really different. It's
so
apples
different,
to
but
oranges.
one is
That's
way better.
the biggest joke. Of the
Yeah,
whole
that
thing.
was the yeah.
No disrespect.
Wait, you don't like the movie Friday Night Lights?
I hate it.
I watched the series
You
a little
only
bit.
like the feel-good movies,
No,
Courtney.
I know
Yeah,
because
she
I
does.
love
That's-
Friday Night Lights, the TV show, and I think the movie just doesn't even hold even close to the TV
but the
show.
movie is based on the book, which is based on a real story
Right.
of the football team. And I
Yeah.
just think the way that like from a journalistic perspective, the writer who went down there and spent a year with that team,
Yeah.
and then transformed it into a movie that honestly is like it's really hard to watch at times.
Yeah.
The
To
whole Booby
be
Miles
fair, I don't even
storyline,
think
but it's a great movie.
To be fair, I read the book. I watched the television series a little bit. I don't even think I saw the film, so I probably can't. I just it doesn't seem like it's
But I
top.
love the
I
TV
saw-
show.
I
It
saw
doesn't-
the
TV show
it doesn't
is-
seem like number one. Is Minka Kelly in the movie?
No.
Okay, forget it. Then.
I saw the
If-
movie,
If Minka Kelly's not in the movie,
But
then
Connie
it doesn't-
Britton in both.
Yeah, I don't care about
but
that.
it should not be
I-
number one.
I gotta
It-
ask Wiggy.
It shouldn't be one on the list. No,
Where
it
do
could
you
be in the-
land? Where do you land on any given Sunday?
Any Given Sunday is top 3.
Really?
Yeah, Any Given Sunday, because for me, I look at the Any Given Sunday, it was a little bit, overboard, but
Yeah.
the characters, the LT character, the Jamie Foxx, the LL. I was telling Greg that Pacino used to come and watch Bill Parcells when I was with the Jets to kind of get some inspiration. So it's one of those movies where it has kind of everything. It has enough football in it for you to be like, this is a football movie. So that's why I say I would probably put it somewhere in the top 5. I seen Friday Night Lights. I wouldn't have a top 5 too high. And if you want a kooky movie that is a woman empowerment movie from the 80s, Greg and I was talking about this, could have been on the list, Wildcats with Goldie Hawn.
Wildcats.
Yes.
I like Goldie Hawn.
Yes. Where she goes into a high school in New York or
Yes.
something.
And as long as we're talking about decades past, Wiggy, from our childhood, glaring omission with Gus. You left. Huh?
Gus?
Gus?
Yeah, never heard of it.
You never watched Gus?
What the hell is Gus?
Gus is the dramatic story of the field goal kicking donkey. That was a very, very popular film.
This is like the original Air Bud?
Yes, long before Air Bud. Wiggy.
I don't think I ever.
What?
I don't think
It's a Disney classic.
If I seen it,
Who hasn't seen Gus?
If I seen it, it was so long ago. If you would have said, because Don, what's his name? Don Knotts is in it.
Yes.
What's the one where he's the talking fish?
Mr. Limpet. Isn't that the one that he's Don Knotts is the fish? I think
That's the one I seen. It was
Mr.
from that
Limpet.
era. So,
Yes.
Mr. Limpet is your nickname at Echelon.
but all right.
There's a lot of cocaine in the 80s.
Anything with
Yeah,
Don
there
Knotts
was.
in it, I
Yes,
tell you.